What's up? Oh, turn down my audio a little bit. Hello, everyone. Hello, Melky. So, today I'm going to be working on CodePal. What the hell is CodePal? Let me share my screen and show you what the hell CodePal is. There it is. All right, there's CodePal. So, to be honest, I don't know the end goal of this, and hopefully, Melky, you can explain it to us. But so, to me, what CodePal is, it's a developer and, I guess kind of tech central things, talk about your products. There is a little blurb on the homepage. Let's take a look at it real quick. A community of developers to share your journey with in a rapid, accessible way. So I first thought of it as like a Twitter for developers specifically. And am I going down the right path, Melky? Is that what you would sum it up as? Is the end goal to be like a tech community hub? Let's see what he has to say. But for now, I'll show you what it'd be like in here. So we've got our side nav. We're going to be working on the UI components today. I've already done a lot of them. Hey, that noob, how's it going? That noob is a fellow code power as well. We've got our home page here. It's got our POWs. POW is like I guess a tweet or a post of some kind. And you can also, the projects I'm a little unsure about. Messages, you can do DMs. You'll be able to send messages, slide into the DMs, etc. I built out some of these buttons. Profile. This is your profile page. You can see your followers, following POWs. Set some information about yourself, some socials. Oh, still working on Saturday? Oh man, I'm just kind of easing into my day now. This is the most serious thing I've done all day. So, we're kicking it off. I can see my POWs, my projects. A project is an interesting idea. I think you can have a project where you can get a team of people grouped in on it, and then you can kind of use it as like a home for your project information, maybe staying up to date on a project that we're all working on together. And finally, settings, which is not really done yet. This needs a lot of work. But what we're going to be looking at today, yeah, that nothing works. I know that. I know that feeling. Thanks for the follow, Xcoding. I've been hacking on this CodePal stuff for a little while, and I just keep changing little things there. I'm being so OCD about it, especially for the style guide stuff, because I want it to be clear, you know? So this is what I have so far. The introduction page is pretty bare. I added some information on the colors and state and whatnot, but I need to fill this out more. I don't know what I want to do with it yet. Branding page, I've added the fonts and the colors. So we've got our main, our condensed, Roboto and Roboto condensed. Here's all the colors that we have in the app, or that I'm using in the component library so far. Yeah, Storybook would be cool. I know I haven't looked into, I know of Storybook, but I haven't set it up yet before, so I haven't gone down that route. The main reason I want to do it this way is because it gets to the components. I know Storybook allows you to play around with it more, but this is going to kind of show you the default configurations and like the suggested configurations. I don't know if that'll be more helpful. I'm hoping it will be, but basically that's the reason why I've kind of stuck with this so far. I would like to do a Storybook setup later on, especially once we start getting a lot of components because you can't really search this thing too easy, you know, but I know you can do that in Storybook. So this just has buttons. There's a few different types of buttons in here as well, which I could go over. But basically each section I tell you the import, this is all of the props that are available on there and the values that you can have, some defaulting information, etc. And then down below I show you the examples basically of what we're using in the app. Some of them don't have all the colors, like a tag button right now in the designs only has one color, so I don't even give you the options to use other colors. They might not even have other states. That noob, yeah, if you want to try adding it. So this PR, I hope to have it in this weekend at least. So this will have some components for you to throw in there, because the ones that are currently in staging are not the finalized version. These will be like the finalized version of buttons as far as I know. So once I get these in, if you want to play with that, that would be cool too. That'd be great. I appreciate that. So we've got them there. So I want to, oh, hey, Mountain Trash Panda. I'm sorry, I forgot to say hi back to you. So right now this buttons has 4 different types of buttons in here, but you have to scroll through it to find them. I want to add a subnav here so that you can click directly into them, super easy to get to it. And these linking, the hashtag links just don't work in React Router. React Router is such a piece of trash. I don't know, I mean, it's obviously the most used one, but I feel like it's so difficult to use sometimes, and it doesn't have these basic features that it's just annoying. But you can hashtag link to a specific part of the page, and that's not working in React Router. I want to fix that so you can actually do that. That would be nice. And this is using the same kind of nav here, so same idea there would be cool too. I got a different music going today. I've got, what is it called? Chill EDM. I've gotten some feedback from some haters that say they are not digging the disco. It's too distracting, and that's fair. I can understand that. So I don't know if it was just too loud before. I tried turning it down, and I thought it was okay. But let's try it out. This is car chase music. Listen to it. This could be a slow car chase. Xcoding, thanks for the raid. You just streamed, huh? Were you streaming this morning? I think I saw that on Milky's channel. Let me... They called one of my the disco beats. It was like kind of the 70s on the beat police vibe music. And that's what it sounded like. So you're working on C# Hector, a Discord bot. Is that right? That was the last thing you were working on today? I don't know any C# myself. Oh, today was something else. Okay, okay. So we're trying chill EDM today. I like it so far. I went through a couple other channels and I wasn't feeling them. There was like the funk channel, which I like, but is also super close to disco. There was the R&B channel, which felt a little funky. Maybe it was a little too funky. Drum and bass, which I liked too, but yeah, whatever. We'll try them out. We'll see. Okay, so, I mean, I could blow this up one more, maybe? Nah, I'll leave it as this. Hopefully that's good enough for you to see. So, I actually left off on this, editing this content on the components page. I was double checking and making sure everything had everything. They do have emo music but I don't want to put that on. Emo, Screamo, and Pop Punk? Maybe someday. I could make that a channel redemption to swap out the tunes. So let me show you the 4 buttons we have. We have text buttons, which are obviously just buttons with text. And these are the most common. We use them all over the site. You can see them. There's Create a POW, POW. I have them on this Messages page. Close button. This one up top right is an icon button, which we'll see. These are text buttons as well. These are icon buttons. This is an icon button, icon button. So the text buttons are all over the site. Wood Smoke is our brand name, and that's our default that we're going with. Turquoise is our kind of primary color. Notice, you know, the deep standard like kind of notification message, and important has a nice red tint to it. So there's a few states to each button. There's default, active, and disabled. Default is just common. It's got a hover state with it. Active is if it's actually selected. And disabled, of course, if you cannot use it. You get a disabled kind of muted style with it. And the text buttons have a link to or an on-click property. A link to will give you an actual link to it. An on-click doesn't have like a route attached to it. You know, like a link to, you could right-click, open in a new tab. A on-click, you can't do that kind of thing. So that's a differentiator between those. And a link would be, a link to would be an A tag, whereas an on-click would be a button. So those are differentiators between going from one page to another on the site or doing an action within the page. And those will switch automatically behind the scenes. This one's got a color turquoise and a link to this current page right now. If the, actually, is this the current page? Styles components? That might be wrong. I might not have updated that one. Let's double check it. But if you are on a URL, does this text button have the, no, never mind. This one doesn't have that. Ignore that. We'll see that in a second. Let me double check real quick. For the text buttons, I've moved everything into a kind of JSON format because that's how I like to manage my content over a template. I had it all in there and then I moved it out. So now I just need to update a JSON and then it'll, you know, loop over it and print them all out. Helps reduce the amount of code that I have to use in my file. So I'm looking at text buttons. I think the last one. No, that was the right link that I used. Okay. Tab buttons. Let's look at the tab buttons. So tab button has only one color, wood smoke, and that's the default. So you don't even really need to include this color tag on there. I'm going to do it for you. It's got the same 3 states. It's got a link to and an on click. And you can pass some class names, disabled as well if you want it to be disabled. So one thing about on the other button as well as this one and most of them, anytime you pass a disabled to true, I'm automatically going to set that state to disabled for you. So you don't need to do that yourself manually. The goal is to do as much as I can for you so you don't have to write really any code for something that is common across the whole app. So there's some nice features rolled in there. And that's basically what this description says. You got the default, there's the active, and there's the disabled. We're using these ones on, I call them tabs because they're kind of like this tab interface where you have latest, hottest, popular. These aren't working right now, so I can't click between them. But there is one working here on the profile page. I'm currently looking at my POWs. I can also look at my projects, and then it switches between them. And on the project page, we also have one here. So they're kind of like in-page switching for you, but they are possibly linking to a new URL, whereas you can also have an on-click where it does not link to a new URL. The reason why I'm having a whole new URL is because if you switch to a different URL, I can auto-select this for you, and you can directly link to that page. You could copy this and paste it to someone, which is nice, right? If you wanted to send them to my projects, I could do this, and I'd have it's profile douchebug / projects, and then the default one is just profile / douchebug. So that's mainly where we use those ones. It's got the link to or click, and this one has a special code behind it where the link to prop will link to the URL and automatically set the state to active if the current URL is an exact match. So on these nav buttons, when we get to these, you'll see I have an option where you can do just a normal match, and that's because once you get, like for example on here, profile, I'm matching just the profile URL, but I want to match anything under /profile / whatever, not just this URL directly, right? Because I go to this projects URL, and now I have /profile /deep projects. It would no longer be an exact match, and it would no longer highlight this. But because this is the whole section, I want to keep it highlighted. So those nav bar buttons have a specific that specific addition that behave a little differently, as compared to these ones where it is an exact match only. I have the capability to turn that off, but I haven't done it in this component because I don't think we'll need it. So I can add that later if we actually need it. Icon buttons used for actions in various places. As you see, they're just a button with an icon in there. And all the props you can get on there, you pass in an icon. It's a React Feather icon component. We're using React Feather. The size are small or medium. We're defaulting to medium, which is this bigger one here. That's the more common version. And there's all 4 colors in here. So turquoise, wood smoke, notice important. The default is wood smoke again, which is that darker kind of grayish color. And there's the same 3 states. The states work the same across all the components. If a URL matches, if it has that feature, then it will do the active. This one doesn't have that feature. If you pass disabled, it will automatically set the state to disabled for you as well. This one also has a type. Did the other ones have types? They did. Not the tab button, but I think the text button does. Yeah, text button does. So a type, we didn't mention that before, but it's a button type, submit or reset. So when you're using the default button action, you might be using this in a form as a submit button. We aren't with this one, but we were with the text ones. We're using them for some default buttons or submit buttons in places. So I wanted to make sure you can pass the type in. You also have your on click, and none of these are linking to URLs yet, so I don't have a link to. I have just the on click callback. They're actions for now, mostly actions on the page. And additional classes and disabled as well, so you can disable this. And I don't know if I mentioned it, but anytime you click on, you look at this, you can see what it looks like, but then if you want to see the code, you can always click over to this little code tab, and then I give you the little code samples to use that were used in the demo there. So you can see the first one was the one with an image and it's size small, and the second one is just an image with no size on it, which defaults to medium. And nav buttons, these are the main nav buttons. The only place we use them is this main side nav. So I use them here on the main page as well. And those are a little special because they, again, the pass. So we'll talk a little bit about that. The color, the only color you can have is wood smoke. There is different states. And we have a link to, we don't have an on click on this one because they're all direct links to pages. So no on click for that one. There's the match exact path. So this is what I was talking about, how you can say match only exact paths. By default, the nav button matches all subpaths. And that's because also, like, if I click on this and I go to hashtag buttons, they would no longer be an exact match. So that's why I want to keep the side nav like that. Let me hide out my Discord. It's distracting me. Okay. And there's an icon, and there is the type as well. I don't know if I needed this. I might be able to drop that off. And there's additional class names, and your content is inside of it. That's whatever the children would be. So you can do whatever you want in the content. Usually you're just doing text because I'm already generating the rest of it for you, but it is flexible in that sense. And you can see here we have with the link to and the icon, and I have the code sample here. So that's what it is. Let me double check this real quick. Nav button. Does the nav button have a type? I don't think it needs one. Nav button. It doesn't have a type. Okay, so that's my doc's fault. Icon buttons, nav buttons. There is no type. And I want the icon component to show first. So this is a Docker project. And while Docker is nice, it sometimes does not get my changes right. And I have to go back and kind of like, if you don't see your changes from React regenerating, I have to go back to the file, add a space and resave it. And that's just the problem I've had across Docker on multiple projects. It's not specific to this project, so I don't know why that is. It just sometimes the sync of the files, I think, gets out of whack and it takes a second to catch back up. Okay, so let's go back down to nav buttons. So the icon is first, color, state, link to, and match exact path. So match exact path. We mentioned that. Let me show you a little bit about how I'm using this. This is in the sidebar nav. So again, I just have, maybe it's not this one. No. It is using the sidebar nav, but it is just the sidebar. So I passed the nav button in here. So again, I just made an array of links. I like to go this route so I can just add a new array item and it's already rendered on the page. Nice and easy. This one has match exact path true, and the home one does because otherwise it's going to match every single route because it's just the base URL. So the rest of them will not match the default path or the path by default. Here, you can see I have that. I just basically pass in the icon, the link to, and the match exact path prop. It's going to default to false, so it's going to work for the rest of them. But it cleans up the code quite a bit. Nav button is not too crazy. The buttons can get, I mean, once you have all those configuration options and the on clicks and stuff, they can get pretty crazy. Let's see. And the final one is tag button. I just added this one yesterday. This one only has one color, turquoise. It is used on the POWs. I don't have any in here. You can see some on the home page though. So I updated the home page with the new styles as well. And this is using the same, our reusable bubble. Well, it's called bubble. It used to be called bubbles. We're calling them POWs now. So if I call it a bubble, you might know what I'm talking about. This is using the same component. So any changes I make to that one component are going to be reflected on the home page as well as in the regular app. So now that's reusable. This used to be all copied and pasted code, which was a lot of extra code. So this is our tag button right here. When you create a post and it has tags on it, you'll see tags down at the bottom here. So that's what that one is. That's the only place we're using it right now. And it's got the same states. I don't think we actually have a disabled state or active state, but I wrote them out anyway. It's got the link to because I think they will eventually link to a specific page. But we've also got on click. We've got the type in case you needed it. Let me see. Did I include that in there? does have a type. I don't know if you'll need it, but I added it on there. And class names and disabled as well. So there they are. That is the 4 types of button components I have right now. And I think that covers all of the buttons on the site. There's one that I'm a little confused on because, so when I log in, this plus button, this is the same as here. In some places it's white, in some places it's dark. So I'm gonna have to figure something out there, but I don't totally know the answer to that. So we'll see. We'll see what ends up there. For now, I want to add nested nav in here. And I want to fix that linking too. So let's look at that. Yeah, that noob. I was wondering, I haven't reached out to Yuka yet and asked him about that. I will do that because that's one of the only inconsistencies I've noticed. He's been very on point with the rest of them. So I imagine we'll pick one way and go with it, but I do have to reach out for that. Let's take a hydrate break. I got a new sit-stand desk over the weekend. Oh no, wait, over the week. It's now the weekend. So we may be standing at some point. I am currently sitting. Don't want to make that a channel point redemption because I don't care to switch that much, but maybe someday. Okay, let's look at these nesting things. Yeah, so after just streaming for 2 weeks pretty consistently, the desk I had was really small. And the chair is not great either, so I was starting to feel pains in my body and I needed to stand up at some point, so we'll switch, I'm sure, later on. What was I going to do? I need to start a counter for forgetting the things that I'm going to do. So we're going to add this table of contents. Fix that. Okay. Well, let me show you some of the components real quick too. I could have kept that one open. Let's start with the text. So the text button, kind of the way that I'm building these out is I built a little helper to generate the styles, which I'll show you in a second. But basically I have all the styles in one object. My base styles are things that are going to be applied across all of, to every flavor of the color. Sometimes I call them flavor. Every color of the button, because that's like kind of the base button styles here. And then you have your color specific ones, and then there's your different states, default, active, and disabled. So I've laid them out like this to keep it simplified and reusable and nice and clean. They might eventually be able to be reused across multiple components, but right now I'm just doing it per component as well. And so this one's got turquoise, wood smoke, notice, and important. If it doesn't have one of the colors, I don't write it out. Don't make it available to you. So the first, you'll see all of our defaults, all of our props. This is the stuff I lined out in the docs, but if you wanted to be that person to look at here, you can also use this as documentation as well. It's got the types in there, the actual requirements and stuff. So color, state, link to, on click, type, class name, disabled, and children. So all of the colors available for this one. The state, and notice how these are optional. The reason they're optional is because I set the defaults and I want you to use the defaults, rely on them as needed to try to reduce the amount of code we have in writing components basically. And the state is also a default of default. link to, or on click. You don't have to have either of them, but your button's not going to do anything if you don't, so one or the other. Types, class names, whatever, children are required, and they could be any. I'm usually just taking in text, but if you want them to do, maybe we had one later on that had some kind of, deeper content in it. So in this component, I created a props object, and I just put everything on there because I'm actually switching later on between a link or a button, depending on which, if you're using link to or on click. And this is similar across a couple of the components. So you pass in your styles, you pass in, these are the style settings, the color that you picked, and the state. Here I'm forcing the state to disabled if you passed in disabled. And then additional class names you might want to have. And then the rest of the props that get thrown on to the component. So type disabled. If there's no on click, I'm going to delete the on click. If there's a type and you have a link to, then I'm going to delete the type. And that's, I don't know why this is giving me an error. Delete must be optional. I don't know what that means. I didn't search it. So I got to fix that later. But if you have a type button, basically you can't be using link to because you should be using a button. It's only for the button. And I set a default type, so basically I'm removing my default. And then finally, if you have a link to, I'm going to use the link component and pass all the props on it, and otherwise I'm just going to use the button, pass all the props on it. So a lot of the buttons kind of use the same configuration. Let's look at icon button. This one doesn't have a link to, so you'll see the code is a little bit different down here. And I passed the type, disabled, on click, etc. I've got the icon actually in there where I'm rendering it. And this one is a little special because it has some size styles to it. So let's look at our generate styles real quick. I created types for all of these. The styles, state type, so that's different types of states that you can have. The string is the CSS class values. The style type, this is the kind of base one. So you have your base styles, which is not required. You don't have to have base styles. And then these are the different options, colors that you can have, right? And these are going to have one of these style types on them, except for the string. The base is just the class names in general. And the setting types, these are all the available colors. I know I could use a TypeScript, I think pick or omit, and I would probably use omit and then drop off the base, and then I would automatically inherit all of these, but I haven't set that up yet. My TypeScript game is not super strong yet, but I'm getting there. And the default states as well. This could also be pulled from these keys. It's basically the same as those keys. And then also a generate styles, which we're going to, generate styles is what we're looking at. So you pass in the styles and the settings and then additional classes if you want them. So I start out with the class names as an array. If you pass in a base, I'm going to push that on. At the end, I'll join this array. And if you pass in, oh, thank you, noob. Yeah, basic type stuff is good. I need to learn a lot of the deeper features. I consider myself a level 1 TypeScript guy. Now I understand it. I know how to add the missing things and I can read some of the errors and stuff, but I need to get to the next level, which I'd say is understanding generics and a lot of the more fancier stuff that they have in there. So I'll push the base on, and then if you passed in a color, which you should have, it's basically required, but I don't know if I require it in here somewhere. Do I? Yeah, I do. It is required. The color and the state are required. But I'm still doing a check anyway. I think it was because it was throwing a TypeScript error. Maybe it fixed itself. Anyway, if there's a color and it has the own property of the color, I always use has on prop instead of the other ones because it's a little safer if this happened to be a user input. Then I will pull that out, and that's going to be the state type. So it's going to be the values of active or default, active, and disabled. And so if you pass in a state and it has that state, then I'm going to push those styles on. And then finally, I'll push on any additional classes you have. And I'll just join them. So you'll get one big long Tailwind string. Let me show you. If I inspect this one, you can read this. So inline block, font normal, blah, blah, blah. It's a lot of styles with Tailwind, but the components are going to abstract that away for you, hopefully. So you should only need to add Tailwind styling for ideally just spacing type things like margins, paddings. Probably not paddings because the padding should be inherited, but margins mostly. You know, depending on where you want it or if it's in a flex and whatnot, those kinds of things. That's my idea. So we were looking at the icon button. So that's the generate styles, like the normal ones. The size styles are, this one is a special one where it actually has multiple sizes. Yeah, the component abstraction is always the way that I like to go to, but is especially nice in the Tailwind because there's a lot of classes that'll pile up, and we don't even have all of them yet. We're going to need to add support for dark mode and responsiveness, which are going to be even more classes to add on, so it gets kind of crazy. But I want it to be, for example, look at something like here where we have these buttons now. This code is like much cleaner than it used to be. You've probably seen it, that noob, where there was a lot of divs and a lot of nested stuff. So this is just way easier to read and come in here and change things if you need to. I just kind of have top level divs for spacing and stuff, but it's much simpler. So it's definitely gotten easier to read already. We're done with text button. We're looking at icon button. So we have different sizes for the icon button, and that's because we use them in two places right now. We're using them down here. This is the small version inside the POWs. And then we have the bigger versions. I think that was in messages. This is a bigger version right here, this little ellipsis, as well as the profile, this edit kite icon. Oh, and the home. These are bigger icons as well. So the bigger icon is more common. This is the only place we're using the little ones for now. So we have those two sizes. I default to the bigger one. This one only has the button. You pass in the icon, and then I use generate size styles for the icon. It's not for the whole button, it's just for the icon, basically. That's what's changing the size of it. And in here, I basically copied what I had for the other function and just changed it a little bit. So the size styles have small or medium right now. They could have large, XL later on in the future. They still have a base, and then they have a size prop, and the size is just a string value of one of those. So it doesn't have the multiple levels like the other one, so I had to adjust the code a little bit. But basically do the same thing. I'll take in the style base. If you have a size and we have that property size, we're going to pull it out. And if it is a valid size, then I don't really need these extra checks since I'm using TypeScript, but I added them before I added the TypeScript support, so that's why they're in there. Then I'll push that class name on. I did need to use some exclamation points in some things because for some reason it thinks this could not be available. It could be undefined, which is why I also add those extra checks, and it still doesn't get it. So I just kind of forced it total, like, nah, it's cool, dude. It's gonna be there, promise. And then additional classes. So I'm gonna use these styles utils across all the components, basically. Any styled component, of course. And that's it for the icon button. Tab button. Little different, only one color. We're using the is path match in the tab button. So because of the link to and the highlighting, I have this get current state, which I actually use down here. That is the state of the button, not the mine state. Yeah, that noob, are you the one that was working on the types? I can't remember who took it. But that'll be nice to get the types in there, especially for the data and stuff right now. So this one will grab that current state, which is basically going to check if you pass disabled, I'm going to set it to disabled, and then I'm going to do, if you pass link to, I'm going to check the path match to see if it's the URL matches the page that we're on, then I'm going to give it the active state automatically. Otherwise, I'm just going to use whatever you gave me. So this still uses the generate styles, same idea as the other ones, has the option for link or button. Let's look at that path match code real quick. So you pass in the path that you're on, you pass in the location from the router, and then the option to match the exact path. So I'll take the path name that you're currently on. This is the path I'm trying to match. If the path includes a hashtag, I'm going to include the hashtag for you and try to match on that. And I'll add that on there. If you don't, I'm not going to bother looking for the hash because I want to match subpaths, basically. And then if you match an exact path, if you want to match the exact path, I'll do the exact match. I still do 2 lowercase just in case you type the URL in wrong for some reason. I'll do an exact match. Otherwise, the default is to just match subpaths. And so I'll just do a starts with. So anything that starts with that URL will match. And that's for the main nav buttons that we're using. So that's it for that code. And I think that's all I care to go through in the components. I've added some other ones like the main logo, sidebar nav, etc. in here. These are not documented yet. I've only documented the buttons so far. But once I get the button set up and this stuff and then push it out, then we can start documenting other things. Like these ones don't always have multiple versions either. The box container is just this kind of outline. I don't know if you can even see it on stream. It's subtle. There's an outline around this whole box, and that's what it is. And we use that style around the site a lot. Like this should have it around it, the title. So I will reuse it for that later on. And there's some modals. That was the first one that I actually put in there. I haven't documented that yet either, but there is a modal and a modal launcher, so I need to add those as well. The buttons I wanted to get in first because they were mostly used across the site. And this is my first kind of example of adding something into the style guide. Cool. So let's actually work on this side nav, shall we? Let me do a little stretch. How long have we been going for? Oh, 46 minutes! Ooh, stretch. Watch that, did anyone else watch the Only Devs podcast yesterday? It was funny, man. It was a good time. I missed the first 10 minutes. I thought I had notifications on, but I didn't, so I missed the very start, but they were all there, and they talked about their most embarrassing moments on streams, like their biggest fails. Those were hilarious. You should definitely listen in whenever they launch that podcast. I think you can also watch the VOD on Melky's channel. So I would link you to that because it was funny. Melky does some squats on stream and drives the crowd wild. So check that out. They do win the thing. Ask us anything. Only Devs podcast, episode 2. A lot of good giggles in there for sure. They're a funny bunch. In the crowd, they've got a crowd on the screen, and then Primogen has his guy up in the balcony. Every once in a while, he does a reaction. It's pretty good setup. I'm impressed. Melky had his glasses on. He was full stunting. I gotta go back and watch the first one. I bookmarked it, but I haven't watched it yet or listened to it. Someday. Someday soon. Okay, let's not get distracted any more than we already are. So this will be down in here. I just have the nav links right now, but I actually have, let me minimize a lot of this stuff. Oops. Sections on it, which has all of the subsections that I'm rendering to the page right now. So we want to spit those out. I'm going to collapse that. And I have an example up here. This is all the properties that I have that I was copy pasting for a new section. So those are all the values that, actually we won't be using all those in there anyway. We just want to generate links. So we're going to do this. Instead of a tab button directly, I'm probably going to want a div and then the tab button. I'll probably turn this into a component too because I need to use it on other pages, but we'll just draw it out here first. And then we'll say if link.sections and I have an ID for it. That's what I'll use anyway. And I might end up changing these to, instead of hashtag links, to like sublinks. I think I will end up doing that, but maybe not yet. So we want another tab button. We still want the key to be, actually this is going to be a map. This should be link.sections.map. And we're going to get the section and then we want that. One more indentation. So this will still use the section.id. And I mean, I guess this isn't working yet anyway, so let's just change it now. /section.id. And I think I called this title, actually. React and TypeScript. Yeah, I didn't make types for this link, this nav link thing, but so we're not really using it there. But yes, we are using TypeScript in here. Slowly adopting it. So this will actually need an extra class name, ML3, because I want it to be indented, margin left 3. And I might end up changing some of these styles, but we'll see how it goes. So we should see all of the sections as well. See how I save it. Takes kind of a second. Docker needs a second. Thanks for the follow, Nikolov. There they are. There's all the sub ones. They're kind of spaced out a bit much for my liking. And I may want to I might end up just changing these to just plain text links anyway. I don't have a component for that yet though. We can make one. But I don't know, do I want to do that already? I do want to shrink these down. Okay, let's... There is a basic link on the site. Well, let me log out again. No, there's another one. I know they're in the login form. Okay, we'll log out. Even though it's saved, I hate logging out and logging in. So these, I think, are just plain links. And that's kind of what I want for now. Let me just copy these. So, Nicola, this is codepow.io. It's a new website that is focused on developers and creators, I guess. I'm bad at marketing this. So it's a community of developers where you can share your journey with everyone in a rapid, accessible way. It's kind of like a Twitter for developers. You share your projects and maybe things you're working on, maybe troubles you're having, whatever. And you have some basic voting and whatnot. This might be really blurry for you. I'm sorry you can't see it, but I'll show you a fuller version in a second. So I joined, this is a Melky Dev project. I joined this as a tester and then I started fixing things. So now I'm doing the front end style guide right now for it and building out reusable components. Front end is more my forte and I don't think anyone else wanted to do it, so I took it. So that's what we're building out right now is the style guide part of it, but here's kind of the app that is so far. It's somewhat functioning, it's got some minimal functionality. But you got your home, you can direct message people, you have a profile and settings, etc. You can create new POWs, which are kind of like a little tweet post. It is not deployed yet, it's still in alpha. So that's what we started the alpha testing last week, I think it was. And we're working on the style guide so we can start building out more features. But yeah, front end, cool. So that's why we're working on some of the stream today. But there's several people on the project. That noob is here hanging out somewhere, hopefully. And they're on the project as well. Melky was here earlier. He's on the project. So that's what we're trying to get shipped today. I've already started building it. You can kind of see it here. This is what we're looking at, the components, the buttons, etc. I got this little code switcher so you can copy and paste stuff from it. That noob's hanging out somewhere. Kicking back, taking it easy. So let me change these from tab buttons to just be A with the class names. I still want the key. And actually, I want the link component, so I still want the link. Oh, but the problem is, I want that active selecting. So let's copy. The tab button, and I mean, I could make a hidden component for it. For now, I'll copy it. And I've also been creating components in the style guide. These are meant to only be used in the style guide, so I got my own secret folder for it. I'll just call it nav link. No, because yeah, nav link. Even though the other ones are called nav links. Oh wait, I copied that whole thing. So let's copy that. I want this will be called nav link. And I'm just going to keep all the same stuff for now. Let it work the same. That's it. I think. A nav link, a nav link, a nav link. Oops, a nav link. Let's import that. That is an internal component. Oops. That's actually in dot component slash nav link. Let's see how it looks. Well, I want to change the styles actually. So I don't want as much padding on it. Maybe I'll do 2. And then 1. Let's try that. Save my components. Wait for the refresh. There it is. Okay, that's much more readable for now. Cool. So we're on the buttons part right now. Let me fix the routing. Or try to fix the routing. Catch you on the lurk, noob. My glasses are hurting me today. So what was I doing? Looking at the routing. Ah. So I would want to drop this off from exact. And then I want any optionals. I have to look that up again. Let's see. React router optional params. Kind of surprised the React router or Stack Overflow pops out first, but 1, 2, and 3, those are old. We're on 4. Hey Bash Bunny, how's it going? I heard you got a new do going, and we're gonna be able to see it tomorrow. Did you chop it off? Is it above the shoulders? You went and chopped it all off, didn't you? So I have multiple optionals. Is what I want. Because this is just going to be but components. Nice. Did you get a squat rack and you put it in the background? Is that what you're doing after you saw how successful that was on Melky Stream? I hope that's not it. That's okay. I'll still watch. I'll still watch. Okay, back here I want slash. And this will be component. Arch? Arch Linux? Or is that some other kind of workout thing? I don't know. Actually, this is Arch Linux. Group and component. Did I spell that right? I did. Oh, I don't know that one. I use Arch, yeah, because he thinks he's, he's like, oh no, I use Arch. I'm cool, huh? I think his Twitter profile does say the only Arch Linux Twitter developer or Twitch streamer, right? Okay, will that still load here? It should load fine. I changed my music today. I had disco in the past, but today we're doing chill EDM. Ran away? Why did he run away? Was he scared of him or something? It still loads for buttons, and it still loads for text. Oh, and the routing is working out of the box. Oh my goodness. I can see I didn't call this one buttons. I call them all buttons. I should call them button. Oh, Zodog is back. Welcome back, Zodog. Glad to have you here. I'm excited for all your trash talking. I spent that whole night thinking of comebacks, so I'm ready this time. Realizing the general public does not know what Arch is. CodePal is a content website for developers to share their status and projects and things they're working on. You can post code samples and little snippets, little contents, and you can get feedback from the community. You can follow other developers. It's still in the it's alpha phases right now, so it's not totally working. We're currently working on the style guide for the components. I've started building out reusable components across the site, and so I'm building out the style guide for that, and that's what we're doing over here. It's a beaut, isn't it? Yep, it's some Tailwind beauty, designed by Yuka. I don't know his full name. Yuka something, Yuka Lythan maybe. And I started as a tester. I filed a bunch of bugs, and then I was like, oh, Melky was talking about how no one wanted to work on the front end, so I was like, I'll jump in, I'll fix some of these bugs. And then I started looking at the styling stuff, building out a style guide, because that'll be really helpful when they start building out, we're going to start building out more features more and more, so this will hopefully help them pump them out pretty quick. No, it doesn't host code like GitHub. It'd be more akin to Twitter, I would say. You can have direct messages, you have your profiles, but I don't know if this is going to be like the main, the POWs or whatever. They're kind of fun little things, but I don't think that's going to be the main focus of it. It could also be the projects and the sharing and Stack Overflow. Yeah, so I think it's going to be more of a full kind of community thing. The POWs were just starting out as getting content out there and kind of posting things and whatnot. So I don't know the full end goal, to be honest. Melky said he can explain it, and then he didn't explain it. He just left. So, still waiting on that. Had to get some squats in. But the style guide, I built out five different buttons now, and I am working on the style guide, pumping it out, getting it going. So, let me fix some of these names. Instead of buttons, I'm going to just say button. He didn't even say goodbye. He just said, yeah, I can. And then he left. I didn't hear from him anymore. I don't know what happened. Hey, Jason, how's it going? So maybe he'll be back today and tell us. I'm not totally sure, but it's possible. Okay. Oh yeah, let me double check now. I need to fix those links in the components page. So instead of this hashtag link, I want styles/components/link ID Is that the sub one? Yes, I want to copy this basically and do it down here as well. Zodog, how long you been developing? Huh? Huh? Tell us a little more about yourself. So this is the link ID / section ID. And I'm going to pull out these styles because that's what we want. Actually, what is it? Font bold, margin top 5. I might keep the rest of these. We'll see. Then we want section.title. We're all mid developers on the inside. Juniors that are too good, seniors that are not good enough. So now I should be able to use these links to link directly to, yep. So my URL changed up here and this selected on the left. I just need to do the scrolling on the route change. So let's do that. There is actually a code snippet somewhere. Scroll to element by ID. I'm sure this will be a Stack Overflow. How do I scroll to an element using JavaScript? This is the janky way. There is a scroll, oh, scroll into view. Cool. We'll try that one. We'll try that one. So I want to do a use effect in here. Oops. Whenever the route or .path name changes, cons. Is it router? No, it's history. Is it? I don't know. That could be location too. Could use any of them. We'll start with location. How about that? So anytime that changes, I want, actually I do want, which is the one that has the params on it? I need to figure that out. It might be the other one, but let's save that for now. It's console.log the location. And I need to import useEffect. And use location. Let's see what that gets us. Hydrate break. Ophelia, did I miss that follow? Thank you for the follow. What does it give us? Path name. Okay, maybe I want the params. I think that's what it is. Use params. Just show me the use params. use params. Use params, there it is. Well, that's nice and easy. But I still want to know whenever the route changes. I mean, I might be able to just use the params, I don't know, but I'm going to call it link ID because that's what I actually use it as. Oh, that's not the param name though. I called it group. Maybe I'll update it. Link ID and section ID. Let me update those in my app real quick. To link ID, section ID. Oh, Ophelia. It's okay to be small. It's cozy. But thank you for following. I'm just a little guy. You ever seen that Portlandia skit with Fred Armisen? He's the little guy. I think that was Portlandia. Yeah. I'm just a little guy. Link ID, section ID, that's what I named it to. Let me drop that one. What seems to be the problem here? Does not exist on type. Okay, let's make a fake type for it. String. It is optional. And section ID is an optional string as well. I'm wondering if I could just change it on link ID and section ID when either of those changes, but I'm not sure. Ophelia, number 111. That's a good number to beat. I was going to say, I thought I recognized your name, but my normal streaming schedule is Tuesdays and Fridays. I didn't stream yesterday, so that's mainly why I'm streaming today. It's usually in the afternoons, Mountain Time. That's about as solid as it gets. I start, yeah. So I've got a Discord if you guys want to join and get alerts. That's a good way. You can follow me on Twitter. I didn't have a link for Twitter. It's in my profile on Twitch, but if you want to get live notifications as well. Twitch live notifications I know are not very reliable, so maybe don't rely on those notifications. Dario sucks. Oh, that's funny. Hey, Nixiative. Also a CodePal member. Welcome, welcome. It's funny that the two-factor auth biting you in the ass, yeah. Oh, you use the YubiKey? I have one for work and I've never used it. I used it during setup once and then I hid it away since then, but oh, I might have seen you in the other streams, Ophelia. You're right. I do announce my streams in Melky's as well, so. Okay. So, now I want to say if section ID exists, actually, I'll probably just say const scroll to, and then if there's a section ID use that or fall back to the link ID or null. Milky streams during the day though, doesn't he? And then is it still too late for you to tune in? Yeah, so I wasn't ready to stream last night until like 9, I think, my time, and I was like, no one's going to be on anymore. I'll just wait till tomorrow. So I thought even your guys' daylight saving time changes at a different time than ours? That's not worldwide at the same time? I mean, I guess it makes sense, but ours, we've already had ours change a couple weeks ago. That's interesting. Is that, do you have Groundhog's Day? Is that a national or a worldwide thing, or is that just an American thing? Okay, so let's try this. Stretch! Wearing my Denver hat today. That cool or what? So it selected it correctly, did not scroll to it correctly. Let's see if the params are coming out correctly. Groundhog's Day? I did. Yeah. I'd like to get rid of it. It'd be cool. Moment.js is dead, man. It's not even a thing anymore. If you were senior dev, you would know that, so, dog. Yeah, Groundhog Day is the real holiday in America, isn't it? I don't know about this song. It sounds a little too, like, sad. What? My friend was telling me about a new number. I think it's this one, number format. This new API that will format currencies for you, and he said dates too, but I didn't double check it. Maybe there's another thing. So this will format currencies, which is cool. Is there another one on international that does it? Yeah, date time format. So whether you're, so you can say like English US or you can say English GB, and it will put the format into their locale. So that's pretty cool. I didn't know this existed. So it's getting some support. So bright. I'm sorry. Are you watching in bed right now? We'll close it out real quick. Sorry. Back to the dark mode. But I've yet to look into that. That's a cool thing. I mean, that could help replace some of these date libraries. Time ago is always nice to have. I'm going to have to implement a date library on here at some point. Haven't done it yet. It's in the feature list. Or that's actually a bug because we haven't implemented it yet, but it's on our posts. Okay, so it did have the buttons and the tab buttons. Did I not do that ID correctly? I have the ID there, and I have the ID there. This should be an H3. Let me see if... Did it not find the element? Scroll to, and then let's make sure we got an element as well. And I'll drop off this location. I don't need that anymore. And I know this is working now, so I don't need that anymore either. Zulu time? What is Zulu time? 50 years of computers. Yeah, we're getting there. The technology. We have the technology. Element is null. That is because... What was scroll to? Scroll to was tab buttons. Did I name link ID too? Oops. This should be section ID. That's why. This second one, section ID. Even then, it should have scrolled to link ID, which it did, actually, buttons, right? No, because, okay, never mind, whatever. Oh, that's what pilots use? What is Zulu a place, or is that a made-up thing? Oh, it scrolled to it. Scrolled the tab buttons. You see that? Icon buttons, nav buttons, tag button. Oh, it's working. It's working. This is so great. Let me refresh the page and see if it works. Oh, GMT? Why did they call it Zulu? To sound cool. Okay. So let me add, I want to add some padding on there. Margin, there is actually a margin top of 5. Maybe I'll do padding top of 5 because I want to have a little space. You know, pilot lingo. There we go. Cool. I also need to do it on that one though. And let me delete my logs. So this should be padding top 5. Okay. Well, let me remove all these logs. Careless love. Cool text buttons. And if I click on one of these links here, that works as well. Oh, come on. Sorry guys, let me block out some people real quick. Ban, 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 ban. Got some chat spam there. Five in a row, you know, that's a lot. Usually it's just like one. The Z, Zulu, is for 0 meridian. And now you know way too much about that. You never know, it might come in handy someday. You never know. Those are spammers, Zodog. They come in and they spam with a link for you to pay for followers. That noob does sound a little jealous. I could send him your way. Do you want me to send him over to your stream? I've only gotten it once or twice before too. That was the most I've gotten, so I guess I should feel special. I mean, they could have at least followed first, right? That would have been nice. Oh, Trash Panda, that would definitely help in pub trivia. That'd be a good place to use that. Yeah, follow bots. That's the other scammers. You got an OnlyFans, Zodog? Okay, so we've got it on this page now. Let's add it to our branding page as well. Actually, I wanted to fix those titles on this thing. Components line 255. This should now be on the div. And it's fine on there. So that'll clear up that error. Zodog's fans are like dominatrix fans. They like to get belittled, you know. What are you still throwing errors for? 275? Oh no, wait, not ID. I need a key. Copy that. Wait, put it there. Still waiting. Straight into the police vibes. This is more like the driving around downtown on your motorcycle vibes. Or maybe your electric scooter. It would be nice to add some waypoints as well, I guess. Make that a waypoint thing, but hoverboard? Yeah, that would be dope. Riding around town on your hoverboard. Or are you talking about a one wheel? Oh, G's a founder. I had no idea. Thanks, G. G is in Jarrell. Let me add No, I don't need to add that to the other page for now, I guess. What else did I want to add to here? I can't remember. I know that was one thing. I wanted to clean up the docs in some way, but I guess these could just be... It doesn't need to be a full scrollable thing now that they're page-based. So let me hide sections that are not supposed to be shown. So if section.id is equal to section ID and, can I just do that? I'm gonna go get, no, never mind. I'm gonna stay here. How about that? Hour and a half in, I'm gonna take a break after this. Get a snack, some candy, you know. Okay, so that's the only thing on the page, except for the buttons. And that's busted. But it's text buttons, tab buttons. Oh, that's weird. I think it's because that sidebar is getting changed. Kind of candy? Cadbury mini eggs. I need some sugar. Icon buttons. Well, I'm kind of satisfied with that, actually. I might just... I need to add it there as well. Wow, that's really busted. Let me set a width on that. That is this one? No, this one. Width 48. I don't know the actual widths. I'll have to play with it. Jarrell, how's this new music? Is it better? Are you satisfied? Are you happy yet? Waves of Innocence. So let's bring it down to 32. How wide is that? It's decent. Is 40 a width? $44. Better than disco. I actually want that to be the max width. Because it can shrink down. Max W. Oh, that's weird. They do them differently in here. Extra small, let's try that one. That's way too big. max width min content. Maybe that's what I want. And I also want these to be flex call. That's why they were going horizontal when I got too long. Slow. Okay, so I wonder what that would look like if it's really long. Let's try one. I want to actually change all of these to not be buttons, but just button. Text button. Tab button. Icon button. Nav button. Tag button. Component size. This is just to test the length. I want to see the max min or the max width min content. See how it didn't refresh there? I had to go back and hit save a couple more times even though it was already saved. So that just shrinks it down to the table of contents title. Hi Dolix, how's it going? What did I have it at before? Width 48, 44. That's a decent width. I mean, I guess I'll just leave it at that for now. And then if I need to grow it later, I can do that. Where was that? That was this one. Okay. This is React.js with some TypeScript. We're building a component style guide right now for this project, codepow.io. These are the pages we've got at the moment. The components I've got documented at the moment. Let me fix that title again, bring it back. I don't care about that being long anymore. Just testing it out. Once this refreshes, I'll show you one of the component pages. So we've got, say, like the text button here. And it shows you the import, some of the text button, all the properties that you can use and values, and then some examples of them. I'll close this out for you. how they look. If you want to grab the code of a specific one, you can see the code, copy that out, and that's basically it. We've got 5 different buttons in here. This is a Tailwind site, so I built reusable components that have Tailwind classes underneath. I like this one, this song. Okay, so I'm going to take a break real quick. I'm going to do a stretch, get a snack, get a drink, etc. So hang out and stare at this beautiful component page. I can bring Zoe. You got a channel redemption for that, Jarrell? There she is. I had trouble finding her. I had to use the old trick. So, say hi to the people. And I think I'm ready to go into stand-up mode. That was Zoe Kitty. Thank you for redeeming, Jarrell. I looked in all her favorite spots and she was not there. Eventually I had to pull out her little food thing and tap on it. It usually gets her to come out. And then she just came out of nowhere. I don't know where she came from. All right. Going up. Ooh, those legs. I didn't give her food after it this time, but I usually do. She wants to go outside. It's nice out there. Hold on. If I've got my door open, can you guys hear outside noise? I left it open for her. Let me know. Got my soda. I'm powered by sugar. I'm not powered by caffeine. There's caffeine in this too. And I've got my Cadbury's. Very good, very good. Okay. Let me get my standing mat out. So what are we working on next? I could build out another component real quick. It's going to be a boring one. We need a component for this. Eating stuff on screen is probably not a good idea. We gotta talk. So we need a component for this page header, and then also one for the avatar. See, this is the right avatar down here. I need to add that. Oh no, wait, not that one. This one over here on the right is the right one. I need to open that XD link. Mama, what? I used to have the XD doc. Let me open the link to that. Is it in the README? Omnom? Omnom. Ah! Definitely read that wrong. I'm just going to pull it from the Discord. Wait, it's not in the Discord. It's in the README? No. Where did I get that link from? Oops. I think I might be in the Discord. Hold on. There it is. Opened it on the wrong window though. I want it in here. I actually rebooted my computer before I started the stream because it was so laggy last time. It's the first time I rebooted it in a while. And I forgot that all these pages were open in an incognito window and I needed to reload it. Oops. One thing about the stand-up desk, when I lean on it, it shakes a little, so can't lean on it. Okay. I want to look at the home page. I got it. I want this to be 100. So you see there's a little icon, that one and this one, and the suggested follow section right there. The whole thing is not styled as it should be. So those are things we need to get to, but I really want to look at this, just this kind of main one right here, the home, and also that icon. We'll add those. So the page header is primary background color with a border of quaternary, which is an incredibly hard word to spell. I always want to call it like quaternary. Oops. Let me close some windows out. Ophelia, thank you for signing up for the Discord as well. Okay. This song's getting intense. What kind of icon is that? Is that from Rex Feather? Let's see. Come on. It is the user icon from React Feather. So we can use that. They already have it over here on the right, but I don't know if that is using the right things or not. So let me close out some of the things we're not using anymore. And let me commit that actually. No, let's not commit it yet. Just yet. I'm trying to go to the home page, and there's a follow thing. Suggest follow. Okay, so they are using the user one. Let's build it. Components, and that's not that one, it's in here. And it's not a button, it's a user. I guess we can call it user avatar, and this could be the default version of it. Let's build out a new empty component. real quick. Yeah, I don't want that actually. I won't. Just that. Sorry. Make it a span. It's going to be the user icon, basically what we had over there. And that's going to come from React Feather. How big is it? And we'll have to probably eyeball it. But we'll have two sizes. I would call that one a large. And that one's a small. I mean, this would be small too, but it could be a level in between it. I don't know. We'll call it medium. Small and medium. Get out of here. So this will have size equals, we'll default to medium. Come on. Come on, VS Code. So I was outside enjoying the sun. What's going on? My computer's like freezing. Are you guys hacking me? Am I being hacked right now? Uh-oh. No, I can still see myself on stream on my other computers, so my computer's hanging right now. One second. Yeah, I'm still live. Oh, it caught up. There it is. Sorry, y'all. I don't know, my computer just like froze for a whole minute. That was crazy. But we're back now. Okay, so that background is the wood smoke primary. I should have copied this from one of the other ones. Let me just... I'm going to want... Hey, Creative Null, how's it going? Working on some CodePal, creating a new component right now. I don't think I even need a color. That's going to be selected by default. I mean, copy all these over and just take what I want. There could be an on-click and there could be a link to, though. Size color equals wood smoke. That's the only one we're actually going to take. Yeah, we're working on CodePal today. He said no one wanted to do the front end, and I'm excited to work on component libraries and stuff. I like that stuff. So like, hey, I'll help you out. I'll do that. for you. And the state is default. I think that's the only state that I'm going to support too, but we will need sizes, and we'll need the styles, and we'll need these imports. What else do I want from here? This is not a link to version. Let me grab one of the link to ones. Copy out that. Stuff. It's a link, otherwise it would be, well, it also could be a button if there's an on-click. Which ones did I copy? Link to, on click, type. Shouldn't be any children though. No children. The icon will equal user, and it's going to have that width and height on it. Which one was that? That was the icon button. Size styles, using the size, and I'll spit that out in there. There's a link to, I might have to do multiple here, so if link to return the link, if there's an on-click, return the button. And then otherwise we'll return a span. And import link. Inline block, text small, rounded. It's not just rounded, it's a full circle, so we'll have to update some of these styles, but let's see. Am I missing anything else that I can think of? I don't think so. I mean, we're gonna have to change some stuff, but I don't think I'm missing anything. Let's do that add pal one first. Add bubble main. I don't care about any of the actions. here I want user avatar. Eventually I'll pass some stuff in, like the actual user would be their user avatar. We don't have user avatar uploads yet. But this will take some prompts. What will it take? We'll take the default size, the default color, the default state. Actually, it doesn't need any props besides a class name, probably. This one. We just need to import it. So let's just do that. src slash components. Oh, come on. Components slash common slash user avatar. What it look like. Probably gonna have to adjust our widths and heights. And padding and all the styles basically, but we have our basic components now. Something's wrong. Oops. Well, it's there. Looks nothing like what we wanted, but that's okay. So the medium let's try width and height of 10. That looks a little better. How big is that? And you want a rounded you want the full circle, rounded full. The full circle. So medium will be 10, 10, and rounded full is the default. Show me what you got. Okay. So it's growing because of the flex. I need to probably pass the class in self. I don't know what it is. Let's see. Flex shrink. Shrink if needed. I don't want that. I think I want to align the self at the start. Let's try that. There we go. The background colors are wrong. And that self-start is not global to all of them. It's just on this one because of where it is. So I'm going to do that class name on it. There. This background color, this should... User avatar only has a wood smoke color, so I can delete these other ones. And it should be the primary. And when you hover, you get the tertiary. I believe that's right. Where did I copy this from? Oh, I don't have a disable. Cursor not allowed. I'm going to copy that over to here too. So. Okay, let's check that out. Let me double check. That icon text should be way smaller, okay? But it should be black. Does it have a hover? Dude, I think it's freezing again. Refresh. Guess while I'm waiting for that, I got booted from the stream. I got booted from the stream. Believe that? Crazy. Yeah, so I'm using StreamYard and it's keeping the stream alive, I guess, because I have another computer that is the music that is connected. So StreamYard's keeping the stream alive even though my browser went down. So I had to refresh the browser and it brought me back. Pretty crazy. That's never happened before. But that's cool that it didn't take the whole stream down. I would like to switch to OBS, but you know, we're not there yet. Getting there. I might need a new computer now. This computer's been not doing great. No, I don't use OBS. I need to get it set up. I had it set up once. But then I started pairing with other people in StreamYard. I was using that. It was nice for that, but so I need to get back on OBS, get that set up. I need to get a real mic. I don't have a real mic. I don't have a real cam. So I still got to get a full setup going. Okay, but my goal was to update this banner to my followers. Is it 111? Yep, 111. Yeah, that's why I haven't got a mic and cam yet. This is all going off of my laptop. So I thought the mic sounded pretty good, like loudness-wise, and the cam's pretty decent too. It gets a little grainy and dark, but whatever. It's so small too, you know. So maybe I could get by without the mic and cam still. But I do need to set up OBS. I have an iMac that's running next to me that's way more powerful. That should be running the OBS and stuff, so I should be running it from there. But my laptop basically is running a lot of stuff from it right now. So I'll need to get that set up. Okay, back to our icon there. So it's got the background. I don't know if it needs a hover there or at all, actually. Let me fix that icon size real quick. Let's bring this down to 8. And let me remove the hover. Refreshing. I think I want a bigger margin around it. Let me just do it in the browser real quick. Because I don't know if it's 2 or 3. Maybe a 2. Slightly smaller icon. Is there a 7 or is it 6? That looks pretty good. 6 with margin 3. Okay, and let's convert over that follow one and look at the small size there. So there will be a username actually. Well, no. This should just be user avatar now. And I can take out the colors. I can leave that margin right in there because they'll probably want that. From src/components/common/user-avatar. Still says reusing one. It's probably duplicating this code. I'll change all of them for now. Probably shouldn't all be milky either. Here's another one on the landing page. Eucalyptin. Sounds like, oh, those should be smalls too. Sounds like a lotion. Oops, not class name, size. Those are the big ones. That's not the ones we wanted. Okay, okay. I think they're smaller even on there, yeah. The margin still has a pretty good size on it, so it might still be a margin 2 within a different icon size. Let's say M2. Let's drop the padding there. No, actually we'll leave the padding there. Maybe we'll do a margin 1. I don't know if there is a height and width 3. I think it might go down by 2. I hate it doesn't clear that when I click on it. It's quick search. There's a 3. Okay, I might just have too much padding around it. And the icon might be a little too small. Isn't that what we were at before, though? And I said it didn't look right? Yeah, let's go back to 3. Let's see how that looks. It's just so much smaller. Okay, getting real close. And they're not a perfect circle. So, quit that. Hold on, let me close the door. So scratching up the couch. Let's look at some other Tailwind heights. There is a 2.5, cool. Or 3.5. Did I say that was too small or too big? Too small. I want it to be 3.5. And then we'll see. Maybe that'll be it. That'll be just what we need. Fast Travel by Manma. One's chill. That looks good. It's a circle, it's a good size. I'm feeling pretty good about it. Why is this thing wrapping? Can we make it any wider? It's already wide. No, that was the wrong thing. This one. 420. Oh, 7, 8. Yeah, let's go with that. 8/12, what was that? 3/4? I'm really fucking up the responsiveness here. Melky gonna hate it. But where was I pulling that from? Oh, not add bubble. I want that whole right one. This one. This is where the right components will live. And let's check that text size while we're here. It's probably not right. Okay, stop blinking at me. That should be 14 pixels regular. And I believe right now it is not. Spam. Computer's lagging again. Keep waiting, I guess. I trust it will find its way out. I guess there's nothing to do but eat some Cadbury's while I wait. Wow. Let's see if that's right. Oh, you did add it. I think it should be small. That's 14. What did I say it was? 14, regular. Okay, here we go. So that's what I want. Is font regular is not a thing now, huh? Man, my computer really starts lagging once I get on that 2-hour mark, after 2 hours. What the hell? I said exit the page. Normal. I think it already is normal, but forgot to change that. Can you hear me chewing? While I'm at it, let me update that icon. To icon button. Oh, that was, yeah, the egg rolling on my desk. That's why I heard that too. Components, common, buttons. No. Icon button. I'm going to drop off this user one now. Is that the only thing I need? Hey, Joa. How's it going? We're working on a component style guide right now for this website CodePal, which is kind of like a Twitter for developers. Oh, that's not right at all. Those should be primary. Not primary, turquoise. Thanks for the follow, Joe. There they are, beautiful follow buttons. Why that has a cursor on it? Might have added that to the styles. Oh, it's turning out as a button, but it shouldn't if there is no on-click or link to. Oh, because on-click is defaulting to a thing. So I don't want that. I want to default it to none. And that should fix it. Cool. So that's another component I can add to the component list. I mean, should we add that, or should I also do this one? Yeah, let's do that one too real quick. But I guess I do want to add it first. That would make more sense. Let's not jump around too much. But what category would this be? So right now, I have buttons. I wouldn't throw it under button. Could be avatars, but I don't think we'll have more than one. We might have more than one avatar, actually. There is another page, the profile page, that has one. And I think it looks a little different. Yeah, it's square there. But that could still be the user avatar component. Could be users. Let's just build it for now, and then we'll come back to, if we want to change it, we can do that. I'll copy it to there. That. This one should probably be there we go. That's right. User avatar. One component. It's not in the buttons. Oops. I meant to just paste that. The only color available is wood smoke. Defaults to wood smoke. We have the state. can take a link to, it can take an on-click, it can take a type, it can take classes, and it can take disable. But finally, it does not have children. User avatar. Color is a wood smoke. It defaults to wood smoke. So that is the only one that we'll need. We'll need to import user avatar as well. Components / common / user avatar. This first one can be condensed. Oh, that's because it doesn't take any children. I guess there is a sizes one. Which one was that? Oops, don't lean on the desk. It's not a text button, it was an icon button. See, I never changed this. I wanted to change this back as well. And this one. Maybe there was other stuff in the docs I wanted to change. Small or medium. This is the one I want to. Keep the state one. I need to update that. Keep the link to. I can probably comment out the state one for now because there are no other states. Let me bring that back to one line. The URL matches Yeah, I don't really need this state. Let's comment that out for now. or the link to. How does that look? Hmm? One more eggs. Here's some ASMR for you. Om nom ASMR. Not loading. Everything just refreshed on me again. All right. That's good enough for me for today. I'm sick of this loading stuff, so let's find someone to raid, call it a day. I'm going to do that on my other computer so I don't crash my whole computer. I think you should go back to seeing Griffin. I am fine with that. All right, y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. We're going to raid CM Griffin. Raid. If my browser doesn't break. CM Griffin. And I'll catch y'all over there on the other side. Great song to go out on. Bye, Mountain Trash Panda.